When I'm asked to describe you, I ramble off a series of words, all of them too small, all of them you've likely heard. I say, you're lovely, but you don't get it. I don't mean the way you appear, it's the way that when I speak you seem to be the only one who hears. I say you're captivating, but you don't get it. It's not only your ocean-deep eyes, it's the stories hidden behind them, the intricacies of your mind. I say you're courageous, but you don't get it. It's not the facade that you put on, it's the part of you that's left when all the walls are gone. The part of you that's imperfect, immeasurable, unmistakably true, not the outer shell, but the most real part of you. So when I'm asked to describe you, know that words can never go that deep. Words are not enough to capture the part of you I see when I'm asked to describe you. Please read between the lines. You are more than the words in any language can describe. They say sometimes love starts with a spark, and that might be true. But if I were to wish you a love, I wouldn't wish fire for you. You see, fire is powerful, but it burns bright, then it's gone. It's beautiful and warm, but it doesn't last long. So instead of wishing you a love that burns, I wish you love like a river that twists and turns, it changes and flows, it's powerful and free, but it consistently finds its way back to the sea. And so, like the water, I hope your love is ever growing, ever changing. I hope your love is powerful and free, and may you always find each other like the river finds the sea. When I tell you that you are the sun to me, I don't mean the sun in mid-July, when everything feels warm and you have to squint your eyes. I mean the sun in the dead of winter, when I haven't seen the clouds part in weeks, when I felt cold for so long that I can't recall how it feels to be warm. Suddenly, you arrive from behind my overcast sky and remind me what it is to feel light. So when I say that you are the sun to me, I don't mean to sound cliche. It's just that before you, my skies were always gray. The heart is a muscle, and like all muscles, it has memory, the unconscious ability to repeat what it knows. My heart knows you. It knows the pattern of your breathing and the sound of your laughter. It knows the way your sock-covered feet sound on tile in the morning. My heart knows the look on your face when you're concentrating. It knows the strain in your eyes and the twitch of your nostrils when you're trying to hold back tears. It knows you as if it has known you for 1,000 years. And although I know my heart would continue to learn you until the end of time, my heart knows that occasionally forever becomes redefined by fate or mortality or poor timing. Forever falls apart sometimes. So, if mortality takes you, if fate is unkind, if forever falls apart, there are a million neurological pathways that spell your name in my heart. Somewhere at the beginning of time, I think your heart was a part of mine. Two souls, fallen from the same star, found two different people far apart. All my life I've looked for you, and all yours you've been searching too. Today we met for a first time, but on the ground instead of the sky. I didn't know it. I couldn't see that meeting you was meeting the missing part of me. Sometimes when I look at the moon, I like to imagine that you're looking too. Our gaze is a bridge from us to the sky, and there's an invisible line that connects you and I. And even if I'm miles from you, after sunset, can we meet on the moon? When I tell you that you are the sun to me,
no quiero decir el sol a mediados de julio.
When everything feels warm and you have to squint your eyes.
Quiero decir el sol en pleno invierno.
When I haven't seen the clouds part in weeks.
Cuando me he sentido tan fría por tanto tiempo que ya no me recuerdo cómo es sentir calor.
Suddenly, you arrive from behind my overcast sky and remind me what it is to feel light. So when I say that you are the sun to me,
no intento sonar cliché.
It's just that before you,
my skies were always Gray.
What makes your love so special is that it isn't something profound. It is uncomplicated. It is easy. It is flowers just because. It is tacos for breakfast. And make sure that you text me when you make it home safe. It isn't anxious or impatient. For so long I clung to this misconception that love had to be chaotic. I thought that the only love that was powerful was one that was out of control. But you are not a storm. You are not chaos. But you are love. And I was wrong. I knew you were special when I started choosing you over being alone. And that's rare for me because I can count on one hand the places that I feel at peace, and so far the only one that had breath and a beating heart was me. But with you, for the first time I found myself craving the sound of someone else's heartbeat. I don't crave it like chocolate cake. It's more like the way you crave silence after a long day, or the way you want vegetables and water after eating pie for every meal on the holidays. I don't want you because I need you, but because who you are settles something in me that can't be settled on its own. And for once, I find peace when I'm not all alone. I've always wished that I could make you see how beautiful you are. You're exquisite and you don't even realize it. Your darkness doesn't scare me, it's enticing. The way I've always felt compelled to run carelessly into thunderstorms, that is the way I run carelessly into loving you. Not in hopes that I will change your pain or prevent your rain, but rather to become entirely drenched in all that you are. Everyone seems so obsessed with the idea of summer romance. My theory is that they've never fallen in love in autumn. Because if they had, if they'd ever watched their heart fall with the leaves, if they ever warmed their hands in the pockets of another's sweater, if they ever loved someone the way I loved you, they would never speak of any other kind of love. Your hands were more eager to learn me than to touch me. You were a musician, with careful fingers and knowing eyes. Before you sat on the piano bench, you took a moment to look inside, to be sure the strings weren't fragile, to mend the damage of less gentle hands. You seek less to play and more to understand. You asked me kindly to impart every song I ever wrote. I think perhaps that is love, to want to know the piano before you ever play a note. You asked me how I want to be loved, and this is my only reply. I am like a book that's been read enough times that there's no hesitation in the spine. I know that I'm not difficult to read, but sometimes I wish someone would think I'm half as mysterious as I want to be. I like sunsets and shooting stars as much as the next person. I love simplicity and raindrops on rose petals with all my heart. So, if you want to know how to love me, spend a little extra time appreciating all of my ordinary. Make me believe that I admire the stars in a way that no one else does. Convince me that my fascination with raindrops on rose petals is worth your adoration. Search for the intricacy in my simplicity. Look for the reflection of the stars in my eyes. And when you love an open book, remember to love between the lines. I refuse to believe that the words I love you are like birthday cake. 3 words reserved for special occasions, only to be given out topped with candles and frosting at the perfect moment. I use the words I love you casually and recklessly at times, but I found that birthday cake is better at midnight, and I love you is better when you don't hesitate, when you don't wait for a special occasion to say it. So here it is. I love you. And not in the special occasion kind of way, in the coffee in the morning on a Tuesday kind of way. I love you in chalk on a sidewalk and little post-it notes and extra smiles when you come home. I love you in the language of everyday things. And seeing you at the end of each day and listening to every word you say. I love you in the language of birthday cake when it's nobody's birthday. It wasn't love at first sight. That isn't to say I was not mesmerized when I met you, but rather it is to say that there was something far more captivating than the way that you looked. I didn't fall in love when I found you. I fell in love with what I found in you.
You ask me if love is a feeling or a choice, as if those two things are mutually exclusive, as if love can be defined in a single word. Yes, I wake up in the morning and I choose to stay, but I also wake up and fall in love with you each day. Yes, I choose to memorize your coffee order and read your favorite book, but I cannot ignore the way my stomach turns when you give me that look. You see, there is no either or. It isn't a guess. You asked me if love is a feeling or a choice, and the answer is yes.
I was wrong about love. I thought you knew it was right because of how quickly you caught fire. I thought that true love was instantaneous and reckless, although that may be the case sometimes. That's not how it was with you. When I knew it was right, it was because I didn't want to dive in head first. I didn't even want to jump. I wanted to learn how to love you as patiently as possible. I wanted to trace each of the lines on your hand before I took your hand in mine. I wanted to know what scared you. I wanted to find out all the little ways I could care for your heart and make you comfortable putting it in my hands. I wanted to start with matches instead of torches. I wanted to learn to be reckless in restraint. I want to take as much time as we need to get this right. Sometimes love isn't the fall. It's the time you spend sitting on the edge of the cliff, learning each other's souls. Sometimes patience is the purest practice of affection. When I tell you that you are the sun to me, I don't mean the sun in mid-July, when everything feels warm and you have to squint your eyes. I mean the sun in the dead of winter, when I haven't seen the clouds part in weeks, when I felt cold for so long that I can't recall how it feels to be warm. Suddenly, you arrive from behind my overcast sky and remind me what it is to feel light. So when I say that you are the sun to me, I don't mean to sound cliche. It's just that before you, my skies were always gray. I can never seem to capture in words the way you look in my eyes. But this is how I would encapsulate you if I had to try. The stars came down and kissed the earth and left some light behind. And somehow that light turned into you, and somehow you became mine. Now every night I thank the stars that you are in my life. How fortunate I am to hold the stars when I hold your hand in mine. I hope you find an atomic kind of love. And I don't mean explosive and reckless and destructive. I mean, I hope that someone loves you so attentively that even your atoms are not ignored. I hope that you find a love that brings a microscope on a first date and examines the scars on your heart that less careful lovers have left behind. I hope that not a single detail of your being is ignored, because even the arrangement of your molecules tells a story that is worthy of being heard. And I know it's hard to believe. I know that others have made you feel that you aren't deserving of this kind of love. But I think that no one has ever studied you close enough to notice that you have entire novels written on the lines of your palms, entire oceans existing within your soul. And you deserve the kind of love that wants to discover it all. I refuse to believe that the words I love you are like birthday cake. 3 words reserved for special occasions, only to be given out topped with candles and frosting at the perfect moment. I use the words I love you casually, and recklessly at times, but I found that birthday cake is better at midnight, and I love you is better when you don't hesitate, when you don't wait for a special occasion to say it. So here it is. I love you. And not in the special occasion kind of way, in the coffee in the morning on a Tuesday kind of way. I love you in chalk on a sidewalk, in little post-it notes and extra smiles when you come home. I love you in the language of everyday things. And seeing you at the end of each day and listening to every word you say. I love you in the language of birthday cake, when it's nobody's birthday. I finally found a book that I couldn't put down. But this time, this book was a person, and I wanted you to know that I've only started chapter 1, but I already know that I would read this book again, and again, and again, and I might even bend the pages on my favorite parts, even though I've been told you're not supposed to do that. If there's anything I've learned about love, it's that it doesn't care about rules. I know that all books come with endings, but endings are the least of the things I would risk to love you. Endings are the last on the list of the things that would never scare me away. Because I finally found a book that I couldn't put down. And if it's all right with you, I think I'd like to keep what I found. They say that sometimes love starts with a spark, and that might be true. But if I were to wish you a love, I wouldn't wish fire for you. You see, fire is powerful. It burns bright, then it's gone. It's beautiful and warm, but it doesn't last long. So instead of wishing you a love that burns, I wish you love like a river that twists and turns. It changes and flows. It is powerful and free, but it consistently finds its way back to the sea. And so, like the water, I hope your love is ever growing, ever changing. I hope your love is powerful and free. And may you always find each other, like the river finds the sea. They say that love is complicated, but it's not complicated. People are complicated. Love is simple. It is making 2 cups of coffee in the morning instead of 1. It is text me when you get home, call me when you need to, listening without saying a word. It is this song reminds me of you, and I understand how you feel, and with you, I become a little bit more real. It is inventing a million reasons just to keep talking even though it's late at night. It's using see you later as a substitute for goodbye. Don't get me wrong. Love is effort. It is not ease. But it isn't quite as complicated as they want you to believe.